Sports. My name is Cameron Coulter. I'm your host. We have Caden, Ben, we have Brady, and let's dive right into this, guys. Huge week of sports here. We're diving right into basketball. Luka Doncic trade. How are we feeling right now?
I want to ask you first, Caden.
We got a Mavs fan, so
we
let's
gotta
ask
ask
him
him
first.
first.
I'm sick, man. The worst part about all of this is that he did not want out. This wasn't a Jimmy Butler situation. He showed no signs of not wanting to return on a supermax this offseason. That's the worst part is this wasn't forced. He did not force his way out. And so the Mavs did not get full value. I don't think that's a hot take. I don't think
they did.
Anthony Davis and Max Christie in a first-round pick. I think Luka in a regular bidding war would have gone for a lot more. So the fact that he did not necessarily want outs and the fact that we didn't get full return on him is just a lose-lose situation for the Mavericks. We lose, really the best athlete in our city. You could argue Micah. You could argue whoever you want, but that's the reality. No more Luka. Anthony Davis, Max Christie come to the Mavericks. I think we'll still be a good team. Maybe won't contend for the finals, but it's a rough time.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now that, especially with AD playing the way he's playing, I don't think right now it's going to be a big issue. But obviously, the fact that your best player, your franchise player, is gone. But I think years down the line, it's going to bite him.
Yeah.
It's going to definitely bite him.
It's definitely.
I don't know how to feel about Kyrie leading the team as the primary scorer. I think that's a little frustrating, and also Anthony Davis playing the 4 kind of worries me because, again, Mavs fan here, PJ Washington is thriving at the 4 right now.
He's playing really well right now.
So you move him back to the 3, then you have PJ who does most of his work on offense in the paint, Anthony Davis who does most of his work in the paint, and then the 5, which is probably Daniel Gafford for the foreseeable future because Derek Lively's out. So you have 3 guys that love to work in the paint. That might mess some stuff up.
That's not bad. And we're going to shift gears. We're going to go with De'Aaron Fox, too. We saw this coming from about 3 weeks ago. So any thoughts on the De'Aaron Fox with Victor Wembanyama here?
Yeah, I think that this trade does definitely make them a playoff contender. They are only 3.5 games out of a playoff spot, and the only player on the Spurs averaging over 20 points a game was Wembanyama. So you add Fox in the mix, you got a high scoring offense now. They can definitely make a push for at least the play-in.
I agree. I think the backcourt's gonna be really good with Chris Paul. Obviously, Chris Paul's older, but you got De'Aaron Fox now that can help facilitate, get Wembanyama points. I think it's a really good trade. I think the Spurs are really making good progress with their rebuild right now. Obviously, they have one of the top talented centers in the league. But I think this trade is really good and that's very aggressive, and I like it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I believe that keeping their key pieces, their young pieces that they've drafted in recent years, like Stephon Castle, that was huge for them. And I saw something interesting that until De'Aaron Fox arrived, the leader in drives to the basket for the Spurs was Stephon Castle, 341 drives. De'Aaron Fox arrives now, 705 drives. So double the amount of drives that the number 1 basket attacker for the Spurs had before he arrived. So I think that's really interesting to see. De'Aaron Fox loves to get to the basket. So I think that him kind of bringing that to San Antonio will give them something they didn't have prior. So I'm interested to see how that affects, Wembanyama as well on offense.
Yeah, and looking at Chris Paul and Stephon Castle, obviously Stephon Castle, if anyone saw today, was just named the Rookie of the Month in the West.
Yeah, he's a baller.
Him, Chris Paul, and De'Aaron, obviously one of them's got to come off the bench. I don't believe they can play all 3 at the same time. But again, a huge move in the NBA. And we're going to go right to the WNBA now with some more basketball. Kelsey Plum is now Spark. Alyssa Thomas is with the Phoenix Mercury. And Brittany Griner will play for the Atlanta Dream. How does this shake up WNBA?
Yeah, I think that the Phoenix Mercury are putting together quite a squad. You could call it a super team. They have Kalea Cooper and Diana Taurasi. Everybody knows Diana Taurasi, one of the most legendary WNBA players. But they add Satu Sabali from the Dallas Wings, she can hoop, and Alyssa Thomas. And that's a pretty darn good big 4. Everybody knows, Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart in New York. Yeah. So I think that the Mercury have put together quite a good team, and I think that they can definitely compete this year.
Any other thoughts on?
Yeah, I like Kelsey Plum going to the Sparks for sure. I think that teaming up with Cameron Brink, and obviously with the way last season went for the Sparks, just in a rebuilding state. But you're bringing Kelsey Plum, averaging 17 points a game. She's going to be a starter for sure for them, and I think that the rebuild for the Sparks are on right now, I think that it can make a this acquisition could make a big deal for him.
It kind of reminds me, or the NBA equivalent would be like Chris Paul to the Spurs,
Like
where it's like a veteran leadership,
Yeah,
exactly.
point guard,
Yeah.
She has a
facilitator.
ring, I believe. In,
Yeah,
the
with
past 2 years.
I think have the Aces won too.
I believe. Yep, the Aces did win
Yeah,
2
so
in a row.
she's definitely that's a great move.
Brittany
for them.
Griner is a big move too. I mean,
Yeah.
she spent 11
Yeah.
years with the Mercury, and now she's off the Atlanta Dream.
She put up big
so-
numbers. Obviously, it gets lost in kind of the controversy,
With
but
everything,
she is a great basketball player.
Yep.
but,
Just a little older, but I think that the 1 year deal is good.
yeah. And moving away from the WNBA, I know we had our NFL show yesterday on 360 if you didn't tune in, but now we're going to talk about some prospects. NFL draft, obviously 3 months away with the Super Bowl coming up. I want you guys to give me two, maybe some underrated people or some of your favorites. We're going to start with Kaden here.
I think that
Yeah, this is for the board.
yeah, board.
Yeah, we're good.
Let's see.
So my first prospect, I have Andrew Makuba, safety out of University of Texas.
Mhm.
In today's NFL, you're playing shell coverage or you're stacking the box. So those are really just cover two or stacking the box. And you want guys that can play the run out of cover two. And Andrew Makuba does this at an exceptional level. Downhill player, can come from the free safety position, knock people on their butt. He is everything you want in a safety. Some safeties are just cover guys. Some safeties are just box guys. He plays all over the place. He's a 4-year starter. Played 3 at Clemson, transferred to UT, had 5 picks. He's just all over the field, all around the ball. That's what you want from safeties, as versatile as you can get, and that's his calling card. So for my second guy, went with a beast in the trenches. We have Tyler Booker from Alabama. He is the starting left guard for the past 2 years for the Crimson Tide. Violent hands, moves people in the run with ease, just gets downhill, flips his hips. It's everything you want in a run blocker. He is 6'5", so a little tall for a guard. He can kind of lean a little bit, give easy access to the chest, but his good technique with hands kind of offsets that. And he's pretty athletic for a big guy. Alabama ran behind him all the time. They pulled him. I just think that his game translates really well to the NFL, and not a lot of people are mocking him in the first round, and I think he deserves to go in the first round. So we'll see where he ends up, but get him next to a center and watch them double team in the run game, and pretty good deal to me. Those are my guys.
I like the offensive line pick.
Showing love to the big guys
Yeah,
up front.
I
I do
love the
like
big
Booker. I
guys.
do believe he is a first-round pick. I do a lot of scouting for college just to see how the mock drafts go, but I believe the NFL did one today. He was top 15.
Okay,
I'd
I'd love to see that.
And a guard 6'5", we see Mekhi Becton, who's I think 6'7", 6'8"
Yeah.
for the Eagles, doing very well at that position. I don't think height matters. I mean, it helps, especially when you have interior, but he's a very big guy. He's very strong. He's from Bama. He's well coached. I mean, hella guy. But Ben, you're up.
All right.
Who's your two?
Well, my first top prospect, I wouldn't say he's really an underrated guy, but I got to say it's Emeka Egbuka on Ohio State. He was wide receiver 2 behind Jeremiah Smith last year. Obviously, we all know how Jeremiah Smith played, but this guy played just as good. He still had 1,000 yards on the season with 81 catches and 10 touchdowns. Definitely going to be a top wide receiver in the first round of the draft. I hope he goes to the Steelers because Steelers really need a wide receiver. But yeah, this guy he can stretch the field. He's quick. He can get up and make catches just like Jeremiah Smith can. Maybe not as good, but he's got that potential. He's got that ability, and I think that he's going to be a really good player in the draft. And obviously a big reason why Ohio State ended up winning the Natty. Just Jeremiah Smith and this guy right here, along with Judkins, it's just formidable. And I think Emeka Egbuka could definitely create an impact on an NFL roster. And going over towards my underrated, I'd say it's Mike Green on Marshall. This guy had 17 sacks this year, which I had no idea going into today. 17 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. This guy broke out this year during his sophomore year. He's a young guy. He's going to be going into the draft, hopefully in the first round. Should be in the first round. I mean, this guy went off. I mean, obviously Marshall doesn't play anyone super tough, but I mean, we see this guy's talent. 3 forced fumbles is crazy. And yeah, I think that Mike Green's going to be a really good player in the league.
Yeah,
He
definitely.
He is a stud.
Yeah.
He did, I mean, he didn't even have to play the Senior Bowl. Everyone knows that clip. If you haven't, go look up Mike Green's clip from the
Yep.
Senior Bowl. He demolished, I believe that was the Oregon tackle who's
Yeah.
projected the third tackle,
Yeah.
and he just
ran through his chest.
yeah.
beast.
Yeah.
And Ibuka is, I mean, I believe
Yeah.
he's like a Chris Olave, which is funny because Ohio State works together, but Ibuka, I hope he's in Denver.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Abuka I think is interesting
Denver, yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's never been the wide receiver one
Yeah.
in Columbus. You know, he's
I
always
don't
been
think he
that
will be
two
in the
guy.
NFL though.
I don't think he'll be a
I
one
think
in
he'll
the
be like
NFL
a slot.
either.
He could be like a Jackson Smith, where he kind of sits
Yeah.
behind someone and then maybe takes over because
I mean,
that
JSN
slot.
looked like a one this year.
That's
He
how
made a
yeah,
big
no,
jump.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
he's
Yeah,
pretty big.
sat behind DK, but
Yeah.
all right, Brady, you're next.
All right.
Who's your two?
Let's see.
Kind of hard to get out of there, but you can't talk about draft prospects without talking about ESPN's #1 overall, Penn State's very own Abdul Carter. This dude is just a menace on the field. He can get to the quarterback in the blink of an eye. He steamrolled Notre Dame's offensive line on just one arm, and yeah, the Titans really need a game wrecker on defense. They arguably need everything. They're a really bad team, but I think he should definitely go first overall, just for the simple fact that if you get a solid game wrecker on your D-line, you can speed up your rebuild by a lot. Next up, I have a day 3 pick, but I thought he was interesting. Riley Mills, defensive tackle at Notre Dame. His absence was felt heavily in the national championship. He is a very good leader in the locker room. He can get to the quarterback. He's been starting for the past 4 years, and he's just a very good leader. And I think any team will be happy to grab him day 3 in the draft.
I like those. Abdul Carter is going to be a game wrecker for sure.
Being a Notre Dame
I hope
fan,
he
I love
goes
this
number
guy.
1 overall.
Sad he wasn't in, but
Yeah.
I love Riley Mills. But all right, I'd like to.
All right. See what you got, Cam.
All right, I got some 2 underrated guys. First up, Jack Beck. If you haven't heard of him, Reese Senior Bowl MVP. Sadly, he lost his brother in the New Orleans attacks, and he had a hell of a game: 6 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. TCU wide receiver led TCU, I believe, 1,400 yards and over 10 touchdowns. This kid is a stud. He's tall. He can catch. He has that energy that a lot of teams want. I think he will go in the top 3 to 4 rounds, depending if whoever needs a wide receiver. And then next we have a guy who not many people know of, Jeffrey Bassa, middle linebacker for Oregon, kind of that glue of the defense this year. 3rd to 4th round projected pick from what I'm seeing so far. Every coach at the Senior Bowl said his energy is unmatched. Multiple GMs said he's like a Bobby Wagner to a Ray Lewis. His energy just on the field is what you need. His hit power is amazing. He can cover. This dude is going to be a stud, and I hope a team that needs a middle linebacker gets him because he's going to be a freak of nature.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
Under the radar.
Yeah, just on the radar
Yeah.
picks. I mean, Jack Beck, Reese's Senior Bowl MVP. I mean, dude was a beast,
He
I
was.
think. But
He was, yeah.
listen, that's
Not
how it
worried.
rolls. But staying in the NFL sort of world, Cooper Kupp, 31-year-old wide receiver from the Rams, just requested a trade. Any destinations we're thinking here?
I got a team.
I do as well. You want to go first?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
I think they really need to get. I mean, obviously, I mentioned earlier with Ibuka, hopefully taking him in the first round. But I mean, I think this guy can still definitely play. I think obviously LA thought that Puka Nacua is going to be their #1 guy now. I think they're just getting younger, which makes sense why they would want to trade him. But yeah, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers is a great fit for him. Obviously, the Steelers need receivers more than any team in the league, in my opinion. But I'm excited. He's 31. Excited to see where he lands.
Yeah. I want to apologize for what I'm about to say to all these Steelers fans. But I personally, this is mean, but I don't want to see, and granted, he's, maybe in the end part of his
Got
career.
a couple more years. I
He's a
think.
little old, a little
He's getting
injury
up there.
prone, but
He's
I
getting up
don't want to see talented #1s go to Pittsburgh. I'm
Oh.
sorry. I think it's a schematic issue. I think they like to run the football. They don't like to throw it downfield. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be.
Sure.
I know that you have to have the weapons, but personally, I don't want to see Cooper Kupp to Pittsburgh. I would rather see him go to Arizona in the division.
Oh.
Might not happen for that
That's
reason,
definitely-
but pairing him with Marv, give Kyler some help. I think that's a great, duo there. Will it happen because of the interdivision? Probably not, but
No.
I really like that that destination for Cooper Kupp. And I think the Broncos or Commanders could also be a destination.
I like the Broncos
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
think
I just
Bo
don't
Nix is
want
a
to see
weapon.
him go to a team that's not in win now mode.
Like
Does
a
that make
sub-
sense?
That's
I
completely
understand what you're
fair.
saying.
Like
That's completely
he
fair.
can go to a team with a young quarterback, but that young quarterback needs to be Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix. Like you got to win now. We can't waste years with Cooper Kupp when he's entering that scary part that wide receivers enter when they get a little older.
Yeah, I agree with you with that Commanders pick because they're losing Zacchaeus and Brown. They desperately needed someone last year to pair with Terry McLaurin, and they have the third most cap space, so they can handle that contract. Even though the Rams did come out and say that they are willing to eat some salary, so they really want to get rid of him. Apparently,
Yeah, I saw as a Denver fan, I love him in Denver. I think the Commanders would be the number one. Give him another option with Terry McLaurin. But what do you think he's worth? Just pull him to that. Like I'm thinking 4th, 5th round pick.
I would say no more than a third.
I would not give up more than
especially with this draft class. I know this draft class is loaded.
It's wide receiver heavy, and obviously he's 31 now.
Former triple
He's
crown
not gonna-
winner,
yeah.
too.
I
Super
will
Bowl
say though,
champ.
for current wide receiver market, obviously he's not top 5 guy right now.
Mhm.
But most of those guys, like T. Higgins, if he hits the open market, that's like a $30 million wide receiver. Just that's how the wide receiver market, that's what it dictates. So you're getting a little discount. Even if the Rams eat some salary, you're getting more of a discount. I think he's only making about 20-something per year.
Yeah, which isn't bad.
So that's not bad at all.
No. But moving into another NFL, we're going to the coaches. Obviously, Ben Johnson has been hired as Bears coach. Aaron Glenn to the Jets. We have Pete Carroll to the Raiders. Mike Vrabel to the Patriots, and Liam Cohen to the Jaguars. What do you think's the best move, or what do you think can help a team win? And what coach?
Well, I think Mike Vrabel is probably one of the best options in my opinion. I think there's no reason why he shouldn't have gotten fired in Tennessee, and I never understood why no one hired him last year. But obviously the Patriots had a plan with firing Gerard Mayo. Everyone was like he gave him 1 year, but they clearly wanted this guy Mike Vrabel, the former Patriot, back in his playing days. But I think that he's going to do a good job of developing Drake May. I think he's going to want to give him more weapons and more protection.
Yeah.
I think that's what the key thing is here is protecting the young QB who's showed flashes, but also has room to grow.
What scares me, obviously, I think he was the best guy for the job, but with defensive-minded head coaches, I think you really want maybe like an offensive coordinator that has a good scheme because the Patriots don't have a lot of offensive talent at all. They're going to have to hit on some draft picks here. They do have a lot of cap space, but they definitely need to prioritize that offense because Mike Vrabel is going to be handling that defense and trying to restore that to the Patriots defense that is, so dependable that we all knew during, the Brady Belichick era.
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to need some hands on that offense to kind of help Drake May and help that team win some football games.
I mean, defensive-minded head coach and young quarterback worked wonders for him last time with Belichick and Brady.
Yeah.
But I think Ben Johnson is the most impactful coaching hire. I think he's going to unlock Caleb Williams next year, especially since he does have that weapons. They just weren't used correctly, I feel like, with Matt Eberflus. So I think he's going to unlock Caleb Williams, and the Bears will finally have their 4,000-yard passing QB.
I hope so because I've kind of felt bad for Bears fans as the years gone by. They just like especially with the double doink, and it's just gone down from there. Yeah. But I do really like Ben Johnson too. I think he's a close second to Vrabel for me. I think that the thing is with Ben Johnson is that he's very, very aggressive on offense. He's going to want to take a lot of chances. I think Caleb Williams is kind of like that too. He makes crazy. You've seen last year.
Oh yeah.
He made a lot of crazy plays. Last year. But I think that it's a good fit for him. And
I think it'll be interesting to see him kind of transition from Detroit, which is a lot of running the football, play action, kind of, RPO situation. And then once you set the defense up, you take your shots to more of kind of like a passing attack with obviously Caleb Williams. And then you have DJ Moore. Is Keenan Allen a free agent? Or is he there again this year?
He's going to be back next year.
I believe
if he's back, that's big. So I don't think the Bears are as equipped to do what the Lions did on offense. So I'm interested to see how he kind of deploys his offense and changes it up a little bit. I also will say for Aaron Glenn, I'm very interested to see how that shakes out because of Rodgers and Adams. That has to be sorted out.
Garrett Wilson apparently.
Garrett Wilson.
Want to play with Rodgers.
Yeah.
It's a sticky situation in New York, I will say that.
We'll see in the foreseeable future. But we're going to move on. We're doing blind rank. So we've been tasked to blind rank. We have 5 athletes. We're doing based on yearly contracts. So 1 through 5, 1 being the most in a year, 5 being the least in a year. So hit it with us. We got to be careful here. All right, Juan Soto. Wow. Okay.
He's making Mad.
I believe he had almost $700 million in
How many
10 years?
15, I
7
think.
million?
Was it 15?
It was like 700 million over like 15.
Okay, well, 15.
So that's a lot.
That's a lot.
almost
Yeah.
60.
I'm not good at math. but-
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm not good at math either. So we should be ranked.
I mean, this is one of the highest contract. This 700.
Can somebody do the math for us?
Yeah, can we get a math?
46 a year.
Okay, so
Oh,
okay,
that's
wait a
less
minute.
than a lot of starting quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Okay.
Okay,
He's
wow.
only making.
So what are we thinking here? I'm thinking 3.
I would say 3.
I'll
We're
say three.
definitely
Middle of
bound
the
to get a
pack.
quarterback or something.
So 3 on 3.
Yes.
Put it
Yeah,
Three-
sure.
three-
That's
We'll
three
go Juan
safe.
Soto 3.
3
All right,
safe.
hit the next one.
Oh,
Max
wow.
Verstappen. It's okay. Max
That works.
Verstappen. I have no clue.
I don't know the money for.
Me neither.
Oh,
I feel like
not.
it's F1.
Yeah, it's F1. I'm not a race fan. I do know who Max Verstappen is. I know he just signed.
Marina,
Heath
you want to
Shed.
help us out? Is he
I
in here?
yeah.
Darn.
Do we
Wanna-
may be terribly
Wanted to
wrong.
say
a
4.
lot of sponsors on the jacket.
Yeah,
maybe
I know
maybe
Red
he's
Bull
got
was his
bread.
big one.
I don't know how much NASCAR
I don't
racers
know.
make.
I want to go 4.
We're frauds.
Yeah,
we don't know.
I would say
Not
4.
even ball. What is
I
it?
would
We'll say 4.
Say 4.
This could totally
It's
be
gonna be
like
either
a
2
one.
or 4.
Yeah.
I already know.
We'll say 4.
All right, we're gonna say 4 for Max Verstappen.
All
All
right.
right.
Giannis.
Giannis.
He's-
All right. So now we kind of put each other.
Obviously on a max deal, that's normally like 5 for like 250.
He may be more. He may be right above Soto. I don't know if he's enough to put 1 though, but I don't know who else is 1 unless it's
There's
just
no way he's
Shohei.
5 either.
Yeah, it's either it's 2 or 1,
I say 2.
and it's
then.
I
really
think
really
2.
close.
Two.
To
We're
Soto.
still waiting on a quarterback, right? You think?
There's gotta
I don't
be
know.
an
We haven't had
guy.
NFL.
Yeah.
I'm kind of worried about
Okay,
that.
so we'll put Giannis at 2 then.
Okay.
I
It
hope
should be
for
like
the best.
Jameis Winston.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's gonna be.
we'll put Giannis
ready
at
for
2
that.
here, and we'll wait for the next one.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, that's
who signed a deal more recently?
It's got to be Curry.
Did they extend Curry recently?
Yes, I believe he was. Oh my,
'Cause I
this is
remember
really
a few
really
years ago.
close. I feel like Soto.
so.
Okay.
Well, I guess we got to say 5 or 1.
What did we say for Soto? 46
We
a
said-
year?
Yeah,
46.
about 50.
About almost.
Oh,
A little bit higher.
We're gonna be completely off.
I mean, we can't put our only hope at getting this right is 1,
It's
right?
1
'Cause
a
he can't be
quarterback.
5.
Yeah. Let's
we'll
say
put Curry
1.
1,
Oh
but
Lord,
I know,
I figure we
if
messed
this was
up.
Jordan Love, we're screwed because he's the highest. But we'll put
All right,
Curry
we'll
at.
put Curry
Please
at
don't be a
1.
quarterback.
Great one.
If it's quarterback, we're screwed.
Oh, wait,
Wait. He signed that a while
That
ago.
10-year,
Yeah.
like 500. Oh,
Plus
that's
it
still
got
like
plus it got cut though. He did take.
That
a
was
Yeah, he took a
Jordan
pay
Soto,
cut,
yeah.
and it's the quarterback, like more quarterbacks are getting paid more years.
I mean, we
Yeah.
gotta put him at
We will
5.
know. We're gonna
Yeah,
put him at
yeah.
5. We will know. I guess
That's
show the
true.
graphic. We may be way off.
I think
This is
Alright,
going to be
let's see.
terrible.
Well,
I think.
Let's see.
Mahomes is last.
1,
Giannis,
2, 3.
Soto's third.
Wow, that look how close.
Okay,
it
so
is.
Mahomes was right.
So Curry was
Curry
right.
We
was
mixed
right.
up
Soto.
Verstappen and Giannis.
Okay.
Giannis and
That's
Verstappen.
not
That's not bad. That's not bad.
I can live.
We did
That's
good.
not bad.
I
Yeah.
truly.
I
can.
did not know Verstappen.
Mahomes
that
was the
much.
trick
Holy
question.
cow. F1, I just
Yeah,
getting
that's
a lot,
per
but-
year. Wow.
But all right, moving on to the last segment. Everyone's been waiting for the Super Bowl. I know we did NFL yesterday, but Super Bowl predictions: Eagles, Chiefs in New Orleans this year. Give me some predictions for the end of the week.
Well, I don't want the Chiefs to win. I'll tell you that
I don't
much.
think anyone does.
Come
Um,
on.
But you're rooting for the Chiefs.
Oh, I am.
See, the thing is,
absolutely.
I hate the Eagles.
I'm a huge.
I hate
Mahomes
every
fan.
Eagles
He's from
fan here.
Texas.
I hate-
love him.
I hate every Eagles fan here except for Nick Volpe. So I gotta
so
say,
true.
So everyone else an Eagles fan, I guess.
I do think the Eagles will win. I think they have more talent, especially they got Saquon. So they got
I
Saquon.
agree.
They got their
I agree
weapons.
with the Eagles having more talent. However, I've learned to not bet against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So I have Chiefs 33, Eagles 27.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Um,
good.
That's a solid.
I
score.
think that it will be very interesting to see the Eagles rushing attack versus the Chiefs front seven. I think those are two strengths of their team. So who will win? Probably the Eagles rushing attack if I had to bet, but I can't say that Mahomes is going to lose a big game until I see it happen again.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Chiefs because I can't
There
stand
we
the
go.
Eagles, but
I love it.
but
stand
I
either.
do think the Eagles will win. I think it will be. I think it will be close. I just believe that the Eagles have too much on offense for Steve Spagnuolo's defense to stop, and so I think the score will be like 31-26 Eagles.
Yeah.
I have the Eagles winning 32-28 for the Super Bowl. I picked against Mahomes 2 years in a row now, and I'm doing it the third. He's got to lose the third one. I hope he loses
There's
the
no
third
way
one.
he wins.
You know, Broncos fans, I know AFC West people, they do not like Mahomes. I mean, but All right. Well, that was it for the show. Thank you guys for watching. Tomorrow we have NBA, and make sure to tune in for NBA at 360 Sports tomorrow. Thank you guys.